Welcome to episode 30 of Banter from the Bench podcast, y'all. We've got Final Four. We've got torpedo bats. We've got a lot to talk about. Let's dive in.
Soundstripe.
It's been a little bit since we last recorded, so obviously the biggest news for this episode and kind of just going on in the sports world is the Final Four is set. But before we go ahead and start talking about that, just kind of want to do a overview of the NCAA tournament so far. What's been your thoughts on March Madness thus far, Kevin? Have you liked the tournament? Do you wish there was more to it? Have you been happy with it? Obviously, it's not really a spoiler, but we have all one seeds in the Final Four. So kind of tell me your thoughts on what you've thought about March Madness so far.
Yeah, I mean, I might be speaking a little too soon because we've really got like 1 year of tournaments to account for here. But I'm worried that NIL might be ruining March Madness. Considering NIL has been a big storyline for like the last year or two. We've got all number one seeds in the Final Four this year. I hope it's not the case moving forward, but with the results we're seeing this year and NIL and players just making stupid money to go to schools and create like power schools, that concerns me a little bit. I will say it has been pretty entertaining. I mean, you had a couple 12 seed upsets, but for the most part, when it comes to the big games, clearly the one seeds are winning. So that's kind of my big takeaway.
Yeah, I think it's kind of been not too big of a year for upsets. I'm just kind of looking through the bracket here. It's been, like I mentioned, a little bit since we recorded. I personally, in a few of my brackets, I picked Arkansas over Kansas and Arkansas over St. John's. I don't know if people thought that was a pretty big upset, but
that was probably the biggest upset, dude.
I just kind of thought that was like not a crazy game for Arkansas to win. Team coming out from the SEC, having played in that conference all year, like it just seemed to me like kind of a easier choice in my opinion. But aside from that, I mean, just kind of keeping on topic a little bit. I mean, SEC had like 14 teams in it. They had, I think like about four-ish or five in the Elite Eight and two in the Final Four, one guaranteed to go to the championship. So their teams have obviously been doing pretty good. But, I mean, overall, I feel like there weren't too many close games until we got later on in this tournament. But still a lot of entertaining basketball, a lot of good games. And, I don't know, like we saw like 6-seed Ole Miss go on a little bit of a run. I feel like that was a highlight. BYU looked unbeatable for a few weeks until they ran into Alabama. Houston was a team I thought that would maybe get bounced early. They made it all the way to the Final Four, so good for them. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it was kind of a fairly straightforward tournament so far.
Yeah.
Even like a lot of the popular upset picks, granted some of them didn't come through, but like a lot of people picked Drake. Well, Drake won their first round game. A lot of people picked Colorado State. They won their first round game, almost won the second round game. So got to see a little bit of Cinderella runs, but nothing quite like we've seen in recent years, where you have the FAUs and the George Mason and those teams where they are Loyola and those teams that go very, very deep.
You're forgetting one.
No, I'm not.
I was throwing up the U if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, it's not necessarily a lose-lose because now you've got, like, I don't even think you can argue it. The four best teams in the nation right now that are set to take stage in the Final Four. So we're destined to have some really, really entertaining games on Saturday. It's just more fun when you see more upsets along the way, and that's just kind of what we've grown accustomed to over the years. But to have the arguably the four best teams in the nation facing off for a championship, that'll make for entertaining TV too. So, did you want to make some picks on these Final
Yeah.
Four games?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of since we're on topic, I'll just talk about it a little bit more. But definitely four deserving teams. I think I maybe talked about this in our first episode when we were covering March Madness, and I said that the only thing I wished was that Florida wasn't on Auburn's side, so we got a different matchup. Had that been the case, whether they played Duke or whether they played Houston, but beggars can't be choosers. So we got Florida and Auburn on one side, and then we got Duke and Houston on the other. I'll start off on the other side. I mean, Duke has kind of looked unbeatable this whole tournament. They were going in probably as the favorite, I would say. And Houston, on the other hand, maybe some people weren't as hot on them. And when I say maybe, I mean people definitely weren't.
Yeah.
But they've looked really, really good. They won their first round game by 38. They won their second round game by almost 10. Beat Purdue, it was a close game, and then they beat Tennessee by 19. So a little bit of a mixed bag in terms of the way they're outscoring opponents, but overall they've looked solid. I think this is going to be a pretty good game. It's a hard one to gauge too. I could say I wouldn't be surprised if Duke came out of the gates and just kind of ran the floor with Houston and had like a wire to wire pretty big win. But I also wouldn't be surprised too if Houston pulled this off. I mean, as good as Duke is and as deep as they are and as talented as they are, they probably have the most NBA talent out of any team in the NCAA, regardless of who's left. But at the same time, too, will that hurt them? The fact that they are young and they typically don't have teams that stick together for multiple years. So will that come back to haunt them versus, and I could be wrong, I don't really know a ton about Houston's roster, but I feel like they've at least played a couple years together, maybe a little bit more than Duke has.
Yeah. I feel like
so
LJ Cryer's played 10 years now.
Yeah, so will we see experience versus inexperience? How's that going to weigh? But I mean, if I had to make a pick, I'll probably still go with Duke. But either way, I feel like it's a tough one to gauge. But wouldn't be shocked with whoever ended up winning this game.
One interesting piece here before you make your pick for your other team. Houston to San Antonio is only a 3-hour drive, so there could be a lot of Houston fans at this game. Now, it's also the Final Four. People travel for the Final Four, so it could be Duke heavy as well. But just kind of an interesting tidbit that I was thinking about before this podcast. I'm like, oh, Houston might actually have a home game against Duke. But all right, so you're taking Duke on that side. I think it's fair to say we can assume who you're going to take on the other side.
Yeah. I think. I mean, we got this matchup once already this year. It's different now, but Florida played Auburn on the road, and the score didn't dictate it, but Florida really kind of dismantled Auburn that game. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I think Florida is going to easily win this game. I don't think it's going to be easy. I do think Florida will win. From an unbiased standpoint, I think Florida matches up very, very, very good with Auburn. And when I say that, I mean they have 3 or 4 guys they can throw at Janai Broome to defend him. And if they can slow him down, that's Auburn's whole team right there. So I like Florida from that regard. And obviously, Florida's, I got to look at their Auburn side of the bracket here a little bit too. But Florida's been tested this tournament a couple times. I love that for them. Auburn was tested a little bit too, but Florida's kind of been punched in the mouth, gotten up and punched back. So I think that's going to be pretty important come the bright lights of the Final Four. So long story short, I'm going to go with Florida here.
Yeah, I mean, for entertainment purposes, I'll take Auburn just because. Interesting story. Sean was talking smack about Bruce Pearl before the tournament started, saying he always chokes. So this is a very important game. This is a very, very important game for Sean. And honestly, if I had money on the line, I'd probably pick Florida for 2 reasons. One, Auburn is so centered around Janai Broome, and we don't know.
He's also kind of hurt.
We don't know what his elbow is going to look like, so that's part of it. The other thing is if you take a look at like Florida's tournament so far, they haven't really looked that impressive until they've needed to. And what I mean by that is like they've been down by a pretty good margin in a majority of these games, and they're just finding a way to win. And those are the teams that are always the most dangerous during March Madness. So like if I was going to put money on it, unfortunately I'd probably say Florida, but I also did have Auburn in my final in my bracket. So for entertainment purposes, I'll go with Auburn. On the other side, I go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. I was just going to add comments to this, but I'll save it for the end.
On the other side, I mean, I don't think I need to add too much commentary here. I think it's going to be Duke. I think Duke's going to win by a pretty sizable margin. And if it's a Florida Duke championship, I think that makes for a pretty entertaining game.
I think you could say that that's probably the two best teams if they were to meet in the championship. Now, I'm not going to say that would automatically make it the best game, but I think that would probably that would have a chance to be the most entertaining game. But what I was going to say is I had two things from when we were talking about the Auburn and Florida side. You talked about Bruce Pearl. I would like to just point this out. He's going on about his 20th year coaching at two premier schools, and he has reached his second Final Four. So congratulations to him. That's really, really special. Now I got to check one other thing here.
See what I mean, guys? See what I mean when I said this game's important to Sean?
I was going to say, I believe it's his third year now. Todd Golden's third year at Florida, and he has made half the Final Fours that Bruce Pearl has. So just a little perspective for people to remember when Auburn's playing in the Final Four and feeling like that's a good season for them. But other thing is, I think we need a petition to change the calendar to where it should go in order: January, February, Walter Clayton Jr.
No, I don't need my birthday month being named after a Florida gator. I'm quite all right, thank you.
You talk about a guy that's just put the team on his back and willed them to victory multiple times this tournament. It's been pretty crazy, but that's all I wanted to add.
I mean, yes and no, right? Like he's hit clutch shots, right? Like he's delivered when Florida needs him to, but like if you guys didn't have Congdon and like he was like actually still really hurt, I think Florida would be in some deep trouble. I think he's just as crucial as Walter Clayton Jr. to Florida's run. And like you don't really see it on the stat sheet a ton, but like it's all of the like in between plays that he's making, and just the fact that like he's just a massive, what is he, like 7 foot something?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just a huge human. So I think he's kind of been like the under the radar, I don't want to call it like hero because he hasn't hit any big shots, but like crucial player for Florida during this run.
I think he's been good defensively. I think he's not even playing as good as he did during the regular season. He got injured in the SEC tournament, and I think we're seeing a little bit of kind of getting his feet back from that. And it was a brief injury. He just missed a half, maybe a little bit more if I remember correctly. But and I think just he's not as confident as he once was during the season, but. Like defensively, he's been big. He's made an impact there. He's probably going to be the guy that's going after Janai Broom primarily, depending on, if he gets into foul trouble or not. But Walter Clayton's just made every shot that's mattered. And the one he had against A&M where he drove the lane, had a wide open layup, took it back and shot a 3 was just like, dude, how did you even think that was smart? And then hit it.
It wasn't, but he just hit it, so it looked smart. I mean, that's kind of like the beauty of a lot of these teams, and like Auburn, they do kind of rally around Janai Broom, but like you've also got Chad Baker Mazzara, and he's streaky, right? Like if he's on, he's on. So. If he has a good night, and they have Tahad Pettiford too, he's a good little player. But
they got like all 23, 24-year-olds in their starting lineup.
Dude, it's like I think this is probably the most up in the air game of the entire tournament. I don't think I don't have a hard time picking Duke, but I have a hard time picking between Florida and Auburn. Anything else you want to add before we? Well, I guess we picked our final four. So I said Duke versus Auburn, but I think Duke's going to win it all. Do you want to pick who you have winning it all?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Florida. I just, Duke. I'll come out and admit I think Duke's the best team, but Florida does a lot of good things that Duke does. They defend well. They got depth. I think it would be a really, really good game, but ultimately one that I think Florida would win. So
Bold. I like it. All right.
easy.
MLB. Let's jump to baseball. So season's obviously underway at this point. The talk of the league has been the torpedo bats that the Yankees, I don't even want to say like got caught using because apparently they're legal, but a lot of people noticed the bats during their 8 home run game, and a lot of people have been talking about whether these should be legal or illegal. I personally, even if they were illegal, I don't have a problem with it because I think baseball needs to score more runs. Like if they want to entertain people, if they want to draw a larger audience, people aren't going to like people who are new to baseball aren't going to get bought into like pitching duels. They're going to want to see home runs. They're going to want to see exciting games. So I don't really care. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I don't really care either way what happens. I do think that because it became such a big deal so quickly, something is going to be done. And when I say something is like, I don't think this is cheating. And I'm sure all the bats have like some sort of, I'm going to guess, I don't know this for sure. I'm just going to guess like a length and a weight restriction. Like you can't be past this length and you can't be past this weight. So they're probably just fitting within those guidelines. You know, I do think, I don't know. I think the MLB will maybe like have to regulate it somehow. Like, oh, your barrel can only be this thick in certain areas or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, too, maybe they see this as like, hey, this is kind of fun and it's nothing like detrimental to the like they like to say integrity of the game. So why don't we just keep doing it? But I don't know if you caught any of the news stories surrounding this or whatnot, but apparently this was like a multi-year project that was going on in the Yankees system, and one of the guys who was a key player in it is now with the Marlins organization. So he was doing kind of a little on-field interview. I forget the guy's name, and I didn't really watch or listen to the interview, but I just thought it was funny that everyone's making such a big deal out of it, and this guy's just in Miami's organization now. He's not even really there to reap the benefits with the team that seems to be using it the most.
He knew it was going to be an issue and just like, I'm just going to go live in Miami. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the MLB will like crack down in some regard, and whether that's just they have to look at the bats before each at bat like they do with pitchers' gloves now, or what, I don't really know. But
yeah, and then that's another thing to bring up too. Like if they let batters do this, I think pitchers should be able to use pine tar and stuff again.
Oh, dude, I think the batters should be able to cork their bats, and pitchers should be able to use pine tar, and let's just get the best of the best.
I think they should use metal bats.
That's what I'm saying. Dudes should just be able to hit bombs. Pitchers should just be able to have nasty pitches, and let's just make it exciting. Yeah. Anything else you noticed about the start of baseball so far?
One really surprising thing is that it is Wednesday night when we're recording this, and I don't know if they're playing today. I haven't checked the score. The Atlanta Braves are winless, so they do not have a win. I did not see that coming. It's a topic for later on in this segment, but I'll bring it up since they're relevant. They have some injuries that they're dealing with. I know Spencer Strider's working his way back. He pitched against the White Sox minor league team, but also just got hit with Jerkson Profar getting suspended 80 games for violating the MLB's PED policy. I want to look this up because I'm pretty sure last year was Profar's first All-Star year. Let's see.
I was gonna say, I feel like Jerkson Profar isn't even really that good.
He was an All-Star last year. that was like the first time he used to be a very big prospect in baseball, and he was on Texas, Oakland, then he was on the Padres for his first stint, then Colorado, then he came back to the Padres 2023, 2024, made his first All-Star game in 2024. Really looked like he seemed to be figuring things out, which was good for him because, like I said, he was kind of a prize prospect before, but kind of struggled throughout his career. But now it's just like, hey, maybe he was juicing back then too. So kind of disappointing for a guy that did some good for himself last year. And I know he was a free agent, so now I am going to look up what he got from the Braves to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, his WAR last season with the Padres was far and away his best WAR he's ever had in his career. So
he signed a 3-year, $42 million contract with the Braves. This was the first year of that.
I'm sure they probably have some stipulations in there for this, but like, yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's also like 3 years, $42 million. You know, it kind of just goes to show you the type of player that Profar is. Now, if this was like Ohtani we're talking about, or like Freddie Freeman we're talking about, then I think this would be a much bigger issue. But yeah,
but yeah, that was one takeaway I had, and then I noticed they're 4-2. The Miami Marlins are. They walked off every single win of their first series of the season. I was like, that's pretty cool. You don't really see that like ever. But besides that, I mean, the Padres look awesome. They're undefeated. Didn't really see that coming. I know they've had a good team for quite a few years, but for them to be 7-0 heading into tonight, that might actually be accurate because I think they played earlier. So 7-0 on the season, like that's pretty damn good for them too. So that was kind of another takeaway I had.
Yeah, I think they look really good. One funny takeaway: literally everybody in the AL Central is 2-4.
Nice.
The Sox have the best run differential. That's pretty bad. Granted, we're six. Yeah, I mean, granted, we're 6 games in, and I think there's games being played right now. But yeah, everybody in the AL Central is 2-4. All right, then I think we should just walk through each division and kind of pick some division winners. And here, I'm going to share my screen too, so people can see the divisions broken down. Okay, cool. So we've got the AL East here at the top. I think we did this before, and I'm pretty sure. I think one of us picked the Orioles, one of us picked the Yankees. I
picked Boston.
Did you really?
Yep, and I'm sticking with Boston too.
I think I picked the Yankees if I remember correctly. And I mean, let's ride with the Torpedo bats, baby. I'll stick with the Yankees for the AL East. AL Central, apparently everybody's the same.
Yeah, I had Kansas City. I'm sticking with Kansas City.
I had Detroit. I'm going to stick with Detroit. AL West.
I couldn't even tell you who I picked. And for the record, too, we're referring to who I picked, when I picked. We made some picks at the start of spring training, so yeah, you know, obviously things have changed a little bit since then. Teams have their rosters pretty much finalized. There's injuries, there's not injuries, whatever the case may be. So we just wanted to revisit this again with the baseball season starting. You know, I don't know. I really don't know who I picked. I'm gonna go with Seattle, though.
I think you picked the A's.
No, I know I didn't do that.
Yeah, I picked Seattle too. I'm gonna rock with Seattle. I think that they've got a pretty nice pitching staff, and I think in that division that could go a long way. NL East, we both picked the. Oh no, I think I picked the Phillies. I think you picked the Braves, didn't you?
No, I picked the Mets.
Oh, you picked the Mets. Okay. Are you sticking with them?
I am, yep.
Okay. NL Central, I picked the Brewers.
I picked the Cubs, and I'm going to stick with the Cubs, too. Kyle Tucker, by the way, I think he's got 4 home runs this year. That's another takeaway. He is en fuego.
Yeah, he's looking good. And then NL West,
we both begrudgingly picked the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But you know what? Padres are 7-0 too. I'm going San Diego. I'm switching. Let's go.
Wow. I mean, this is impressive right here. For the Dodgers to have the lineup that they have and the Padres to have a better run differential, that's pretty impressive for the Padres. All right, cool. I'm gonna stop sharing that, and then I think we've just got a couple storylines for baseball that we can run through. There've been some deals that have been struck lately, which is kind of interesting because the season just started and it seems like teams are all of a sudden just extending players, which is usually done before the season starts. First one, a local deal here in Arizona. Diamondbacks agreed to an extension with Ketel Marte. He got 6 years, $116 million. I think this is an outstanding deal for the Diamondbacks. He has been one of the most consistent players for them on a yearly basis. I think it's really smart for them to lock him up long term. What are your thoughts?
Yep, same thing. He's got a fat contract extension before, so you would look at his numbers and you'd be like, oh, only 116. Well, he's already been paid, and he's a little bit older than you would think, but he is a very, very good baseball player, very underrated baseball player. I feel like not many people really realized or appreciated how good he was until their like World Series run, and he was on center stage a little bit more.
Yeah. I know that there was a couple times where like he was rumored as like the Sox are trying to go after him, and I was
I was all on board for that.
Please
yeah.
God, please God, get Ketel Marte.
Yeah, and now look at where we would be.
Yeah, I wish. Red Sox, they had a couple deals that they struck today. Or I think it was technically overnight last night on Tuesday into Wednesday. They struck a deal with Christian Campbell, agreeing to an 8-year, $60 million extension. Now, these are always pretty interesting because you've seen the White Sox do this early with certain players, and they got bit in the ass a couple times. Luis Robert, I think, is still to be determined. What are your thoughts on a rookie getting an 8-year extension right out of the gates?
Yeah, they're just, hang on, let me see here. I want to go to his minor league page. I don't know if he played in AAA. Okay, he did play a little bit in AAA, about 19 games. So you can argue he played there. But Red Sox, he made the team out of spring training, so he's on the opening day roster. Looking at his stats this year, hitting .375, 1 home run, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. They're just betting on his future, and they're also saying like, hey, we think you can be a part of this. So he's getting more than league minimum, and they're paying. I mean, if he ends up being as good as he's supposed to be, this contract will look like a bargain when it's all said and done. But there's always that what if. Kevin mentioned kind of like the White Sox have done. Most of those lately have been flops for us. So there's a chance that this could come back to bite him, but I feel like, what was it? How many years was it?
8 years.
8 years for $60 million. It's not like crazy money. It is backloaded a little bit from I saw the structure, but just a good faith move where they're like, hey, we like what you've done so far, and we want you to be a part of this for the future. So here you go, and probably maybe a little less stress for him, and maybe he just hits his stride and never looks back. But so far he's been pretty damn good for them this year.
Yeah, he's kind of a hitting machine, dude. He what's interesting about him is he's never hit below 300 in the time that he's been a pro, and that includes the minors. Like he hit 309 in 2023, and in 2024 he hit 330. So far for the Red Sox, he's hitting 421. So like this guy has just been nothing but productive, and I'm pretty sure he put up some really nice numbers in spring training too. So you can chalk that up as an over 300 stretch as well.
He did not. He hit 167.
Just kidding. Just double it, and he's over 300. I'm pretty sure I heard somebody say he had a really impressive spring, but maybe that's not the case.
I could have said it. I know I said he made the team out of spring training, but
yeah. Well, I mean, he's making up for it now, hitting 420 in the majors.
He got on base a good amount during spring. Just didn't get a ton of hits.
The other deal the Red Sox made, this one's a 6-year, $170 million extension with Garrett Crochet. This one I really struggle with. Is he when he's healthy, is he one of the best pitchers in baseball? I don't really think you can question that. But the whole if he's healthy is actually a major concern. And 6 years is a fat contract for a guy that has what, like a year of major league experience? Yeah, 1 year of major league experience under his belt. Like, it's a little scary, but if he stays healthy, you got a good one.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk that they're willing to take. I think they were willing to take it when they traded for him. I think they knew, like, hey, not only are we going to get this guy into our rotation, but we want him to be here for the long haul. Yes, he only has 1 year of starting pitching under his belt. Yes, his innings were limited. I don't know if that was a White Sox philosophy or if he needed that. No one really knew when that was going on. But at the same time, too, he was outstanding last year. So you're really betting on that. That's the guy he's going to be, and that's the impact he can have in your rotation moving forward. I want to pull up his.
He's just pitched today. He pitched 8 innings. He gave up 4 hits, 1 walk, and 8 Ks. So he had a very nice outing against the Orioles today.
And yeah, that's a division rival there too. So let's see. Oh, I was looking. I was like, what?
He's kind of an interesting story for people that like didn't follow White Sox baseball before. He never went to the minors. He was drafted and came immediately to the White Sox, pitched in the bullpen for a little bit, got hurt, became a starter, was traded to the Red Sox, and now gets an extension. So kind of an interesting story to catch everybody up to speed that didn't follow him before the Red Sox.
Yes, he started at Tennessee, so he was University of Tennessee, started there as a starting pitcher. But played there during COVID, so had that little kind of hiccup. Had some injury history at Tennessee as well. But honestly, when you're drafting and looking at drafting him, like that's less mileage on his arm. So while that kind of sucks that he was hurt and you didn't get to see as much as you would like, that also saves you down the line. But yeah, I think the Red Sox will probably end up doing pretty well with that deal. He's a good pitcher. He's started before, like I just mentioned, with him being at Tennessee. So Red Sox got it done. I was speculating that wouldn't be a possibility. I didn't think he'd want to talk about his contract extension during the season, but you know what? Just 2 starts into it, not even because they got it done before today. They were able to get that deal done. So now Red Sox fans don't have to worry about how much they gave up because they get to keep Crochet for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone to show that like Boston's willing to pay. You know what I mean? Like they also made some moves this offseason that didn't revolve around trades or extending rookies or their own guys. So Boston's willing to pay the price that it takes to be good and make a run. A team that historically has been willing to pay the price to be good and make runs is the San Diego Padres. They agreed to a 9-year, $135 million extension with Jackson Merrill, who has just been absolutely tearing up the major leagues. He's making baseball look easy. Honestly, I think at the end of this deal, this is going to look like a huge bargain to get 9 years, $135 million for Jackson Merrill. He's looked incredible.
Yeah, this was something that made a lot of sense. He was, according to Baseball Reference, a 4-win player last year as a rookie. He was an all-star. He finished top 10 in MVP voting. He won a Silver Slugger. Somehow did not win Rookie of the Year. But he's awesome. And San Diego, despite them being a small market team, have shown that they are not afraid to invest in their roster. A lot of times that'll come via trade, but this time they are taking care of one of their own. So they drafted him first round in the 2021 MLB draft, and now he is going to be a Padre for the foreseeable future. So one of the young stars, one of the bright stars coming up in baseball, and it's fun to see him get rewarded, and it'll be fun for him to play in San Diego for a while. Like they got one of the more fun teams to watch, so for them to be able to keep some of that core intact while they figure out, what they're going to look like for the next year, however many years. It's good that they're they're keeping one of their homegrown guys around, because usually they just trade them and then they go get like Juan Soto or someone like that. So this time they're like, you know what? Maybe we'll keep some of our players.
Yeah, and honestly,
Jackson Merrill, if they traded him, I'd be like, what? Everyone is going to get traded from that team then.
Yeah, they're just going to move. And he had 2 hits today, hit a bomb, 2 RBIs, and he's just doing Jackson Merrill things. So he should be fun for Padres to watch for the long-term future. We already talked a little bit about Jurickson Profar. He was suspended to 80 games for MLB's PED policy, so we don't need to really dive back into that. Last piece of national news is kind of interesting. It's starting to get more and more steam across the NFL. NFL teams are looking to potentially ban the tush push. They're claiming that it could result in injuries, when in reality we know teams just don't like that it's basically a guaranteed first down for the Eagles. Do you think it's something that should be banned? Do you think it's something that like owners are just kind of being little bitches about? Like, what's your take on it?
I am more towards the latter. I think that who cares? Like, if you want to ban the tush push, why don't you just stop it? Just defend it. Like, if they're going to push up against you, push back. Like, it's a play. And if people are worried about injuries, football's like, stepping on a football field is risking an injury. It's a violent game. Like, a tush push, yes, it's probably a lot for the offensive linemen to kind of like dive and, have bodies and stuff on them, but that's part of their position. They know they're going to get beat up every game, and they're going to be, falling down and pushing guys over and getting pushed back. But I just think it's stupid. I saw the Packers were the first team to like formally request to ban it, and I was like, of course they are. That makes sense.
Oh man, we're right behind them actually. We just came out this week that the Bears are trying to get rid of it too.
Most teams are. Most teams voted in favor, from what I understand.
I have a unique solution to this. I think, except for goal line situations, it should be allowed. If it's goal line and a team has the potential to score, I don't think it should be allowed. And they'd have to get creative with like what that means. So like, does it have to be within the 3-yard line, 2-yard line? Like, what does that mean? Because that I could see being a little bit kind of like bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get a touchdown here. Like, at least just drop a play that's not a tush push. So if they would do something like that, I think that that's a perfect solution for it. But it's just whether they're willing to kind of get in the weeds of what that conversation looks like. That's it for national storylines. We are going to jump over to Chicago topics now. So if you like hearing about Chicago sports, feel free to hang out. If that's not your thing, thanks for joining. Let's start with we talked a lot about national baseball storylines. Let's talk about the Sox. They've had kind of an interesting start to the season. I mean, I will say 6 games in, let's put that out there. They look like they've got more fight this year than they did last year and plenty years prior. They're 2-4 right now. Obviously, their pitching has looked phenomenal, and that's kind of what carried them to their 2 wins and what should have been more. But Sean Burke, Jonathan Cannon, Davis Martin, Martin Perez combined to allow 0 earned runs over 23 innings pitched. I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that from your starting pitching staff.
No, and then Shane Smith made his MLB debut on Tuesday, and he was really, really good too. Ended up getting tagged around a little bit because of the bullpen that came in after him. But yeah, I think starting pitching it's been exceptional. I don't think I could have even imagined this was a possibility of the team looking that good through their first few starts. But the White Sox have made a lot of investments in pitching from an organizational standpoint. They've got, special positions they've hired for organizational pitching. They've invested in like the pitch lab and all that stuff. That's been their big kind of priority over the last few years, and we're starting to see some of the benefits of that. Obviously, there's 2 facets of the game with hitting too. they've made some investments on that side this past offseason, so we'll kind of wait and see what that looks like. But, I mean, all in all, Kevin, I think this team has looked a little bit better than I thought they would. They're still going to be bad. They're still going to be very bad, but like you said, they're kind of showing a little bit more fight. Right now, the lineup isn't super sexy in the terms of like people who are in it. We got Luis Robert. Miguel Vargas is interesting just because he might be a piece of this team moving forward. But, in a month or so, we could have Kyle Teal coming up. We could have Chase Mydroth coming up.
Dude.
We could have Colson Montgomery coming up. We could have Edgar Caro coming up. Like, right now, yes, the lineup is boring and they're playing pretty good, which I won't complain, but pretty soon we might start to see some of the vision a little bit, which will be really exciting.
If Kyle Teal keeps hitting the way he's hitting right now, he's going to be up by this weekend. Like, the dude is just mashing, and Chase Mydroth's looking really good too. One last interesting thing. I think the way I would categorize the White Sox right now is like they're watchable, right? Like, our starting pitching is looking pretty good. I don't trust our bullpen quite as much, but I think once we get some of these younger prospects up, like, they could be one of those feisty teams. And the stat that I was just talking about, 0 earned runs through 23 innings pitched, this is only the 4th time in MLB rotation since 1913 that this team has gone the first 4 games without ever allowing an earned run, and this is across all of baseball. So on the farm, Sean talked a lot about these up-and-coming prospects that we could see soon. Charlotte Knights began their season. Kyle Teal is absolutely torching it, like I talked about. Some numbers here. He's hitting 400. He's got 1 double, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, 3 walks on only 4 strikeouts. He was already named International Player of the Week. Do you want me to keep going, or did you have anything specific to Kyle Teal you wanted to add?
No, I don't know if I ever said this out loud, but I thought it wasn't crazy to imagine that Kyle Teal could have broke spring training with the team.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of seeing like, okay, like, I'm sure they'll give him a little bit more time in AAA, but like, he's about as ready as he's going to be. So
yeah.
I don't think he really has much more to prove. Charlotte is a very, very hitter-friendly park, so obviously these numbers are going to be inflated a little bit. But
so is ours, though. White
yeah.
Sox Park is a hitter's park too.
But yeah, Kyle Teal is just he's showing like, hey, maybe we made a good move there by getting him in as part of that Garrett Crochet trade. So looking forward to having him coming up here. I would guess it is April 2nd. I would guess within a month he'll be up.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. But speaking of guys getting called up, one who we thought we would maybe see last year, who we ended up not seeing, and one who had the opportunity to win shortstop out of spring training but got hurt and went to Charlotte. One who is not doing hot at all. To say the least, and that is Colson Montgomery. He has 1 hit, 12 strikeouts in 14 games. Now, that's not accurate, Kevin, because they're playing right now. They're in a rain delay. He's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts tonight. So make that 14 strikeouts and counting in 5 games. The 1 hit he has is a home run. Came on opening night. I was like, that's cool. But since then, not good. Not good at all.
Bad. That's really bad.
Are you worried about Colson Montgomery? How you feeling?
A little bit. I mean, when he first was drafted and brought to the White Sox, like, he was raking kind of similar to how Kyle Teal is. And I was like, damn, okay, we've probably got our shortstop of the future. And he's cooled off a lot since the tail end of last year, and starting out this year, 1 hit and 14 Ks and now 5 games. Like, that's a little concerning. So I would hope that the White Sox are going to get somebody's hands on him and be like, hey, come on, let's take a look at your swing, see what we need to work on, see what we need to fix, and let's get this back on track. Because if he keeps up at a pace like this, I mean, He's gonna be right up there with Rafael Devers and just striking out every
Yeah,
night.
that was another storyline I forgot about.
So a little concerning, yes, but like
Yeah,
I guess we'll just wait and see. I don't know.
I do think it's concerning. I also think it's concerning because he struggled a lot last year too, and
Yeah.
he got to Charlotte last year, and it's like, is he just, like putting immense pressure on himself because he's so close, but he's not there? Like, part of me does think like, I wonder if it would benefit him if the Sox just said, you know what, just come up, like, let's just see what you can do. Come up, we'll see if we can get this ironed out. Like, you'll be under our watch, you'll be with us, and maybe that's what he needs, a little boost in his confidence. But for him to be getting off to this run to start the year after struggling last year, like, that's not good. And I'm going to bring it up. It's sickening to think about, but I'm going to bring it up. Brooks Baldwin, he's currently on the major league team.
Yeah.
He's hitting 357 with 1 home run, 3 RBIs this year.
He literally hit a bomb in today's game.
Yeah, so he's playing shortstop for us, a little bit of second base right now too. Like, well, you got one struggling, you also got a young one that seems to be maybe figuring it out a little bit at the major league level. And then if Brooks Baldwin keeps doing that, that's a conversation you have to have,
I think he could be a call-up candidate for like a doubleheader. You know what I mean? Like, how you usually get an extra player for doubleheaders? Like, I think that could be a good scenario for him because then, like, this attention's not drawn to it, and it's more so just like, oh, here's an extra body. And then he doesn't feel the pressure at the major league level. But, man, I don't know. This is just such an interesting situation because he kind of looked like a no-brainer in the early part of his rookie year, and now he's just kind of fallen apart a little bit. So hopefully he turns it around. He'd be a really nice piece for the future.
Yeah, he's been one of our top prospects for a few years now. So for a team that's rebuilding and doesn't like to spend money, you kind of need these guys to hit. So
yeah,
it would be huge if he was a piece. He's a left-handed bat. We like that too.
This prospect is a really interesting conversation because he also plays catcher. And Kyle Teal seems to be the catcher of our future. Before, we thought it was Edgar Carroll. He's hitting 455 with a double, 3 walks, 4 Ks in 3 games. In my opinion, I think he honestly might just get wedged as like a DH or, dude, fuck if Andrew Vaughn keeps sucking. I've heard Edgar Carroll can play first base. Obviously, you'd have to give him some time there to really learn the position, but he might be a first baseman DH because Kyle Teal looks like he's going to be the catcher of the future.
I think Kyle Teal will be the catcher of the future, and I've kind of already like told myself I'd be totally fine with Edgar Carroll DHing just because you want to get that bat in the lineup. But I mean, most catchers can probably play first base. It's probably a little bit easier for them. Obviously, now you're doing a different type of fielding, and you got to be able to read the ball coming off the bat and all that stuff. But if you can catch, you can probably find success at first base defensively too. It'll just take a little bit of time, but you do see quite a few catchers that do get in at first base too.
And if he's a solid bat, like that's one less position you have to worry about. You know what I mean? Like you lucked out with 2 quality catchers. One can be your starter, the other one can be your DH first baseman. Like.
Yeah, and maybe you got guys that like catching or like when Carroll's catching for him and guys that like when Teal's catching for him. So you kind of, can flip-flop too.
Yeah, you got a Swiss Army knife. Sean, talk to us about Chase Mydroth.
He's doing Chase Mydroth things. He's getting on base. He's got 5 walks and only 2 strikeouts in 4 games. Hitting 231 as I type this out tonight. Let's see if that has updated. I know he hit another home run tonight. So now he's got his average up to 267 on the year, 2 home runs.
Nice.
So he is another guy I think we'll see pretty soon. Just, getting on base, playing really, really good defense. I don't know if you've caught some of the clips of plays that he's made this year, but he's looking awesome. He's playing second base and short in Charlotte. So I think we're looking at a guy that'll kind of be a plug and play in the infield. So got a few different options for him where he can fit in defensively, but also a guy that gets on base, and that's going to be important for the White Sox to have guys like that. So I think he has probably done just about what people would expect him to. He's hitting some home runs, which is always nice. So just good to see him do his thing in Charlotte. I think he could have made the major league team as well. He stuck around in spring training for quite a while, so I kind of thought maybe he would, but obviously he did not. But I think it won't be too long before we see him get called up and get some action here with the major league team too. So
He's kind of interesting. He's just a little guy. He's only 5'10". Was drafted in 2022 from the Red Sox in the fourth round overall, 129. So, he's playing better than I'm sure some people probably imagine he would, being drafted 129th overall. But he's kind of an intriguing piece. I know a lot of people have their eyes on him this season, especially once he gets called up. I think he's going to be a player that a lot of fans are going to be intrigued by because it seems like he's got the tools. It seems like he's got a good eye. Now it's just, can we put it together at the big league level? Last piece for minor league baseball. Birmingham Barons might have one of the better rotations in Birmingham Baron history. They've got a rotation that features Hagen Smith, Noah Schultz, and Grant Taylor. So 1, 2, 3 right there, man. That's not going to be a fun night at all. Noah Schultz is one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. I think Hagen Smith is going to be a quick riser to be right behind him. He's already well respected, but I think he's going to rise up the prospect board. And then Grant Taylor. Do you want to talk a little bit more about Grant Taylor? I don't know a whole lot about him.
yeah, he was a guy that let me pull up his pipeline page here so I can look at years and stuff, but he was a college arm at LSU, had Tommy John surgery, so he missed the end of his college career. People in LSU pegged him as like the next big thing out of their pitching staff, but he obviously didn't get to participate too much. Just reading a little bit here.
He's got a 2.33 ERA on 19 innings pitched. That was in 2024. So, I mean, it's limited innings, right? 19 innings isn't a whole lot to go off of, but he's got an opportunity now to showcase, hey, I could be an arm of the future here.
Yep. And, so he's someone that's kind of flown a little bit under the radar. He had a sensational spring with the White Sox, and people kind of really started he started catching people's attention from a little bit more of a national scale, I would say. Went 4 innings this spring, gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, and had 9 strikeouts. So injuries definitely have plagued him between college and minors so far. He has 22 total starts. So obviously, we got to see some more longevity out of him, but he's a guy that I think people are starting to kind of pencil in as a rotation arm for the White Sox in the future. And I just think it's super cool that he gets to play in a rotation with Hagen Smith and Noah Schultz. And those are 3 guys that could be in the same rotation in Chicago too. So maybe from a player development standpoint, Chris Getz and company is like, hey, let's get these guys close. Let's keep them together and let's see where it goes. Now, I think that guys like Hagen Smith and Noah Schultz could both make it to the majors this year. I don't think you can say that about Grant Taylor just yet. I think he's got to do a little bit more seasoning and get a little bit more experience in the minors before. But I would expect him, if all goes well, to be up at the next season, and maybe it doesn't take him too long to get up here the next season. So,
man, it'd be a dirty starting pitching staff. If all goes well. And then, I mean, I completely forgot about Braden Montgomery too, right? Like they're starting to get some nice pieces together. I think this year's draft will probably be, if all goes well, it should be the last draft where we're picking really, really high. And you'll start to see some of these prospects get called up, and some will stick, some won't. But they're starting to put some pieces together, and I still don't want to be optimistic, because at one point 5 years ago we had the best farm system in baseball and the future looked bright and nothing came of it. So we'll see how it all pans out. We have just one thing to talk about here. Well, I guess actually I'll add one. The Bulls are doing what a Jerry Reinsdorf owned team does, and they are making the play-in tournament. As of last night, they officially secured a spot in the play-in tournament, which is just the most Chicago Bulls thing ever. Can't say I'm really excited about it beyond watching some of, these younger guys. And I don't even really want to call Kobe White young, but like he's just fun to watch now. Modis has just shown that he's got a bright future in the NBA. I mean, he's made some moves on guys like Luka Doncic lately, and he's looked really impressive. So I think I'll watch just to watch guys like Kobe White and Modis, but that's literally it.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I would be invested for as well. I think that the Bulls have a few pieces in place. Josh Giddey, who knows what's going to happen with him? He's having a fantastic season.
Yeah.
I do want to say this, because when that trade went down, a lot of people were like, why did the Bulls trade for Giddey? That was a horrible trade. I thought it wasn't bad. I was like, I think that's great value for Caruso, and I like the Giddey fit for Chicago. Not to put myself on a pedestal, but Giddey, I think, is probably going to get a very, very large contract, and I don't know if the Bulls are going to be paying him that. Or I don't know if he'll want to stay with the Bulls. He's found himself again for sure. There's no doubt about that, and maybe that's appealing to him. Like, he just enjoys Chicago and likes playing here, but he'll have a lot of teams that'll probably be interested in him. Maybe some that are in better situations than the Bulls, but I hope they have fun. They probably should have gotten a better draft pick, but who knows what'll happen.
That defines this season. The Bulls season this season is defined by Sean's quote. I hope they have fun.
Yeah.
That's about how this season's gone. And yeah, I mean, I think Giddey's going to get at least $30 million a year. I can't really imagine him getting any less than that, which that's crazy. I mean, he's definitely, like, this season, he's definitely earned that, but like, man, that's a lot of money to throw at a guy that's had one really good season in the NBA. If he continues it, he's worth every dollar of that, because his numbers have been insane.
Yeah, poor Matas. He probably would have had a shot for Rookie of the Year had he been getting minutes since the start of the year, but he's been putting up numbers, but his season numbers still don't look quite as good as like Stephon Castle or other guys.
I don't remember. I think I picked Castle as my...
You did. I picked Matas.
Did you?
I did, yeah. This whole time I've been like, this guy, I could have looked like a genius if he played in the beginning of the year.
You can blame your ex-Gator coach on that one.
Yeah, no, I can't get into his head. He's got to talk to Todd a little bit this week.
Oh, yeah, Stephon Cat. Yeah, 14-3 and almost 4 assists. Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I think Rasachier and Sarr have pretty decent numbers too.
Really? Does Alex Sarr? I haven't seen his name pop up at all, like literally this entire season. 13, 6, and 2. And then it was Zachary Rasachier. Let's see where he's at. He's at 12, 3, and 1. Damn, dude. You can't even score more on the Hawks? That's bad. All right, well, let's talk about the last team here. We don't have any Bears talk, so there's not going to be anything on the podcast probably for a little bit, because the draft is in about 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks. So leading up to the draft, we'll have more. And I think me and Sean's actually going to be in town during the draft, so I think me and Sean are going to do a little bit of a live episode where we're going to live record while the draft is going on for day 2. So we'll get to live react to picks 39 and 41. So look out for that.
Full disclaimer, I will be getting off a plane about an hour or so before then. So don't come at me if I have some weird takes. I might not be all there.
I'm going to hold you accountable for it regardless. But Sean, let's finish it off with some Blackhawks talk. What's going on there?
Team's getting younger. Team's getting a little bit more fun to watch. I feel like that's kind of been the theme over the last month and a half. They recently signed Oliver Moore and Sam Rinzel to their 3-year entry-level deals. Both were first-round draft picks out of the University of Minnesota. Both have made their MLB debuts already. I have said I thought Moore could have benefited from another year of college just because I felt like he still had a little bit more to prove at that level. And I think if he would have went back to Minnesota, he could have been the guy there next year. But, I wasn't too, I thought he did okay for his NHL debut. Sam Rinzel I thought looked really good. I'm not too surprised by that. I think Rinzel is going to have a chance to stick around in the NHL. I feel like both these guys will be here for the rest of the year with the Blackhawks. I think Rinzel might make the team next year too. He's going to be a very, very solid defenseman. I would assume, unless they get crazy, he's going to be a part of this group for years to come. I really, really like him. So they're playing again tonight here in a little bit against Colorado. Their first game, who did they play? I want to say maybe Utah. Maybe it was Utah that they went up against last. So getting a little bit bigger of a bump in competition with this next game. But looking forward to seeing what they can do. I talked about Rinzel being a part of the core for, moving forward. So the Blackhawks defenseman currently on their roster is really, really exciting. They have Alex Vlasic, who's here. He's already signed for the long term. Sam Rinzel, obviously. They got Artem Levshinov, who, all things considered, has been a lot better than I thought he would be at the NHL level. He's a very good player, very talented, but he has made such significant jumps in terms of leagues that he's been in over the last few years that I thought he is still going to need quite a bit of developing, still kind of a raw player, but he has looked a lot better than I thought he would. I didn't think he was going to be bad, but he looks like he belongs already, which is awesome. And then we got other guys like Wyatt Kaiser, Kevin Korchinski, and Ethan Del Mastro, who are all with the team right now. So just a lot of fun, a lot of young guys. They went from one of the oldest rosters in the NHL to begin the year to one of the youngest now. I don't know this off the top of my head, but guys like 23 and younger, they got to have about 8 or 9 of them on this team right now. Wow. So starting to see a little bit of the vision, starting to see some of these guys get the opportunity to play together. Spencer Knight's not been doing quite as good as he did to begin his Blackhawks tenure, but still not doing terrible. So just getting a little bit of a mixed bag with his results. But the team's been losing. They haven't been playing super great, but they got a lot of guys worth watching. So for any Blackhawks fans that maybe haven't been watching the team too much this year, I know we're getting towards the end of the year, but now would be the time to kind of just maybe watch a game if you got nothing else going on, because there's a lot of exciting players they got with the team right now. And like I said, overall bad product, but individual pieces are fun. So
they've got 8 games left, including tonight's game. You actually could watch it if you have cable. It's on TNT, True TV, and Max, and it's at 6:30. I don't even know what time zone I'm in right now. Pacific time. So puck's about to drop in about 20 minutes here. Sean, I just got a push notification. Ovechkin scored a goal. He's now 3 away from passing Wayne Gretzky's record. And after the Blackhawks play Colorado, we play the Capitals after that. So God forbid Ovechkin scores one more goal tonight. He could tie it against the Blackhawks, potentially pass it against the Blackhawks too. So, or if he just has 2 goals against us, he could tie it. So, something kind of interesting to watch there. But yeah, they've got 8 games left. It's kind of similar to the White Sox talk, right? Like you're just seeing a lot of these younger guys get called up, get experience, and also just get a picture of what the future looks like. So, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, since you brought up Ovechkin, I had to go back and look at this. So, definitely has a chance to break this record against the Blackhawks. And back in 2022, Ovi scored his 800th career goal against the Blackhawks. He got a hat trick in that game to get it, where he joined Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky as the only 2 players, and 3 now, including him, players in NHL history to reach that milestone. So he's already made history against the Blackhawks once, and it is lining up for him to freaking do it again. How weird would that be?
It's destiny, baby.
So yeah, I'll have to make sure I usually try to watch the Blackhawks when I can, but I'll definitely have to make sure I watch that Washington game, and I'm guessing they'll probably start putting them on national TV every night until he does it. So
yeah, I mean, odds are pretty good. He just needs one two goal game either tonight or I closed out the schedule. I think it's Friday or Saturday against the Blackhawks, and then he'll at least tie it. So something to watch. But that's about all we have for you guys. So thanks again for tuning in per usual. We should be back next week with another episode. And we will have a NCAA winner by the time we record next week's podcast. So Sean's either going to be happy and present, or he's just going to skip the podcast entirely, and I'm going to have to do it solo.
Yeah. We're either going to have an episode, or we're not going to have an episode next
pretty
week.
much. Yeah. So stay tuned. But you guys take care. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.